AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi recently sparked a controversy by saying Jai Bhim, Jai Meme and Jai Palestine during his swearing in as a member of parliament,
Jai Bhim, Jai Meme, Jai Telangana, Jai Palestine,
leading to demands to cancel his membership for supporting a foreign country. Like Rahul Gandhi, who brandishes a pocket-sized constitution at the drop of a hat despite his family's history of violating constitution's sanctity on several occasions, Owaisi also loves to swear by the constitution, secularism, just as a convenient cover to hide his cannibalistic communalism. For those angry with Owaisi's support for Palestine, they must know treachery is ingrained in his and his party's DNA. AIMIM's predecessor, Majlis-e-Ittihadul Muslimin, aka MIM, was formed on the advice of Nizam in 1927 to completely Islamize the state of Hyderabad. Together with Jinnah's Muslim League, MIM gave so much fodder to the idea of Pakistan in Hyderabad that it became the biggest problem of independent India. Though Islamic State is still at the center of MIM's ideology, the story of its bloody deeds began when the command of MIM came into the hands of the head of Razakar militia, Qasim Razvi. As soon as he took over the command of MIM, Razvi began to recruit Razakars in hordes in MIM. The radical Muslim militia resorted to violence to keep Hyderabad a free Islamic country or to merge it with Pakistan. The Razakars, an armed fanatical Islamic group, believed that Muslims were born to rule over Hindus and that Islamic rule would one day return to India again. Under Razvi's command, the Razakars triggered a wave of murderous attacks on Hindus. An army of about 150,000 Razakars, mostly MIM workers, killed about 2 lakh Hindus in princely state of Hyderabad. You will be surprised to know, while rest of the country was celebrating independence, around 2 crore Hindus living in the princely states of Nizam were subjected to unspeakable brutality, butchery and bigotry at the hands of Razakar led by Razvi. Not only that, the Hindus had to pay jizya, an Islamic tax for non-Muslims. Yes, it was the same jizya tax that the Mughals extracted from the Hindus. Emboldened by inaction from the Indian government or the Hindu society, the Razakars started attacking trains passing through Hyderabad's territory routinely. They pulled out Hindu passengers and killed them brutally. And all this was done by the workers of MIM. When Sardar Patel and his deputy V.K. Menon were busy integrating princely states into India, Qasim Razvi worked overtime to create an Islamic state in Hyderabad and vehemently resisted its union with India. Emboldened by no retaliation from the Hindus, these bigoted beasts even started harassing Hindus in neighboring territories of Madras and Mumbai provinces, and sometimes launched unprovoked attacks on the soldiers of the Indian army. Overconfident about his Muslim militia's might, a rude Rizvi went to Delhi and warned Sardar Patel that if India dared to annex Hyderabad state, they would find the bones and ashes of around 2 crore Hindus living in the Hyderabad state. By the end of 1948, the situation had become very alarming. The combined menace of Razakars and communists in Hyderabad state was threatening to cut off South India from the rest of India. Sardar Patel felt that the time had come to take care of the ulcer in the belly of India. On September 13, 1948, the Indian Army launched Operation Polo to remove that very ulcer. In merely 6 days, Razvi's so-called dreaded Islamic army surrendered like gutless cowards. With the annexation of Hyderabad state, Razvi's dream of creating an Islamic state in the heart of India was aborted and the remaining vestiges of the Mughals were finally eradicated. Thus, Hyderabad state, comprised of present-day Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, parts of Maharashtra and pockets of Karnataka, attained freedom a year after India's independence. So what happened to Razvi and the rest of the Razakars after Hyderabad's annexation? Well, any other country would have thoroughly wiped out this cancer from its root, but in Nehru's rudderless, hyper-secular and pro-Muslim India, that was not to be. For instance, Nehru's female friend and Sarojini Naidu's daughter, Padmaja Naidu, advocated for release of the Razakars. She believed the Razakars of Hyderabad, who were accused of Hindu genocide, should be pardoned to maintain communal harmony. She even went to the extent of hurling petty accusations at Sardar Patel. In return, Sardar politely asked her to not interfere with the course of justice. He sarcastically reminded Padmaja that only 1/6 of the Razakars involved in atrocities against Hindus were being tried thanks to the lenient attitude of the Indian government. As was expected, the Nehru government released Razvi from jail in 1957 on the condition that he would leave India in 24 hours. Before his deportation, Razvi passed on the baton of MIM to a fellow Razakar and lawyer named Abdul Wahid Owaisi. Smart enough to take advantage of Nehruvian secular rhetoric, Abdul Wahid cunningly draped MIM in a burqa of secularism by prefixing it with AI and relaunching MIM as a new organization called AIMIM. When Abdul Wahid's grandson Akbaruddin Owaisi boasted about their capability of killing all Hindus if police were to be removed for just 15 minutes, and when Asaduddin Owaisi himself threatened Hindus that Yogi and Modi won't be there to protect you always, one could see the reflection of MIM's Hindu genocide threats during Nizam's reign. The Owaisis have tried their best to recast MIM's history through selective omissions, but the traits of blood-stained DNA are not so easily rinsed off with the detergent of Al-Taqiyya. Such great is the distortion that they can even claim Razakar Abdul Wahid Owaisi's imprisonment as sacrifice. Take a cursory look at AIMIM's website and you will be able to trace its route to the late 1920s. The party proudly speaks of Yar Jung and his role in shaping it, but AIM completely glosses over the fact that its predecessor MIM had spawned Razakars, that Qasim Razvi, the head of Razakar militia, played a crucial role in the tumultuous 1940s, that it was Razvi who handed over MIM to the Owaisis. In contrast, the AIMIM website says after almost a decade of inactivity, the Majlis was revived in 1958 by Maulvi Abdul Wahid Owaisi, a notable lawyer who was earlier jailed for 10 months for his courageous political activities in defending the rights of the people. Well, that's a half-truth. Like Owaisi and his rabidly radical brother Akbaruddin, their grandfather Abdul Wahid had a dynastic trait of communalism. Though the Owaisis love to call their bigoted grandfather a freedom fighter, the fact is that he was arrested under the Preventive Detention Act 1950 and put behind bars for 11 months in Andhra Pradesh's Chanchalguda jail on charges of hate speech, rioting and inciting hatred against non-Muslims. The same people who once wanted to carve out an Islamic state within India today swear by the constitution and secularism while still harboring the dream of Islamizing India. And yes, during his swearing in, Owaisi was not cheering for Palestine, but for the ideology that took pride in cutting up suckling babies of the Jews, killing their women and raping their corpses. Allegiance of a Muslim does not rest on his domicile in the country which is his, but on the faith to which he belongs. Let that sink in until we meet again in our next video. Stay awake, stay informed. Ram Ram.